Yesterday was Free Comic Book Day. I was able to go to my local comic shop and get these books absolutely free. Of course, then I turned around, drove down the road, and spent money on these books, but that's okay because I'm a consumer holder. Welcome to Haul Yeah Comics. My name is Nate, and I have issues. Today's issues were absolutely free, except for the ones that I paid for. It's Free Comic Book Day. It's the holiday celebrated on the first Saturday of May every year. It offers an incentive for people who might not go to a comic book shop to go to a comic book shop and check it out. You get something for free, and maybe you'll find something in the store that you like. Local libraries get involved, it promotes reading of comics, it promotes just plain reading, and I love it, I'm all for it. Now, through a weird alignment of the stars or something, this year there was a lot of overlap between Free Comic Book Day and other events and things. I mean, first and foremost, it's also Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you. Mark Hamill even went to the White House. It was Dave Brubeck Day, because 5/4 is the time signature that he wrote his music in. It was the Kentucky Derby, and there were such standout horses this year as Domestic Product and Mogutu. William Shatner threw shade at Star Wars fans, but that was overshadowed by another online beef. Let's just say, if you are a nerd of just about anything, yesterday you probably had something to be interested in. But for me, that interest was Free Comic Book Day. I loaded in the car with my friend and my son, and we went to my local comic book shop. There was a lot of selection, and you had to narrow it down to 3 books that you wanted. And I definitely had some analysis paralysis, where I want this one, I want this one, I want this one. Let's take a look at the books that I got. My first choice, the one I was definitely getting no matter what, was Mad Magazine. This book has reprints in it from 1966 all the way to modern day. There were some things I had definitely seen before that made me giggle and have a little bit of nostalgia. There were also some new things in here that I hadn't seen that still made me laugh. So this was cool for me to pick up. Next up, Stories from the Atlas Comic Library. This is reprinting some Silver Age stuff from like the 1950s, pre-Marvel, when they weren't called Marvel Comics, they were Atlas Comics. And it has several different genres in there. So there's crime, there's romance, and there's war. I haven't read this one yet. I'm looking forward to it, but I just flipped through it, and it just looks great. Again, if you're a fan of the Silver Age, then this is for you. But this one is for me because it's mine. The next one that I wasn't going to leave without, this was my second choice, was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know who the Night Watcher is. It's probably Raphael. And then the last book, which is kind of a weird one for me, but I just love the characters of the Fourth World created by Jack Kirby so much. And I didn't know anything about this one. So when I saw it, I picked it up. This is a Barda. Apparently it's not going to be a comic, it's going to be a young adult graphic novel. So it's a story told from her perspective, and I did read this one, and it was fun. I think I'll check out the book when it comes out. To talk a little bit about how my local comic shop ran their event, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if they had free, 50% off back issues. I did see some signs around, like they had Funko Pops on sale if you spent so much money, and I wasn't about to do that because I'm not a Funko Pop collector yet, probably. I mean, the second I say I'm not going to do something, I'm going to end up with a pile of them, so I'm not going to put that out in the universe. But as soon as you walked in, they directed you around a U of tables, and you could pick out your books, and then that fed right into their main floor, and they had rooms set up where they had an artist, and they had somebody selling local things. And again, I'm not sure if they were having a sale or not, but it was busy. There were people everywhere. And what I really like to see is there were a lot of families there bringing their kids. And if we don't have a new generation of readers, we're not going to continue to have this hobby that we all enjoy being a part of. So it was great to see that. It was great to see that it was busy. I had to scoot by people in the aisles, and I didn't even end up buying anything at the shop. And I on the one hand, I felt like I shouldn't walk in and just take these free books and then walk out. But on the other hand, I have a pull list there. This is the place where I buy my books. I'm a guaranteed, I'm a known quantity. I'm a payment they're going to get. And I feel like a lot of the people who were there maybe were not. So I wanted them to have the chance more, and I just felt a little overwhelmed. So we ended up leaving. And as we're leaving, we remembered that Half Price Books last year in our local area ran a pretty good sale. They had several long boxes or short boxes out on tables, and Eric and I were just able to dig through them. We found a lot of gold there last year. So we were hoping they were doing that again. They weren't, unfortunately, but their back issues are still always fun to dig through, and I definitely found some things that are worth sharing. So I'm going to go ahead and get those books out now and tell you what they are and why I got them. The first one is the one that I paid the most money for the whole day, so I feel pretty good about that. I only spent $3 on this. This is Ghostly Tales, issue number 146. We've got a red dress woman in a graveyard calling forth the spirits to help her get her revenge. I hope she gets it. Next up is Firestorm Volume 3. I am a collector of Volume 1 and 2. I haven't bought any from Volume 3 yet, but this was the number 1, and it was $1. This is the Jason Rush Firestorm, not the Ronnie Raymond Firestorm. This is the Firestorm you'd be familiar with if you watched the CW show, Legends of Tomorrow. Defenders number 86. Defenders number 86 was one that I did not have, and I am putting this run together. Next one, I couldn't believe I found it. I am so close. I think at this point I am 2 books away from completing my 24 or 25 issue run of Nomad. Jack Monroe the Nomad, former Bucky of not Steve Rogers Captain America, but when the Patriot was Captain America, he was the Bucky. This book, even it is a very 90s book, but this storyline called Hidden in View dealt with AIDS and gay rights. It was a very progressive book, especially for its time. So anyway, like I said, I was surprised to find this because I almost broke down and got on My Comic Shop and have ordered the last couple. There's just a couple of books that I'm so close to having the full run, and then I want to read the full run. And this one I'm seriously, like, at this point, like 2 books away. So I was really excited to get number 12. Another series that I'm putting together, because this one has Giffen DeMatteis connection, is the Legion 89, 90, 91. You know, every year they would change the title to correspond with the year. And this one was cool to me because it was, one, a Lobo cover, which is a Keith Giffen creation, but also because it was drawn by Kevin Maguire. And Kevin Maguire was the artist on the Justice League International, and he's half the reason it was so popular. So it was really cool to find a cover by him. This was another book that I was kind of surprised to find because I'm getting close to putting this run together too. Captain Atom number 14 was one that I needed, so I found that in a dollar bin. Guest starring Nightshade, who I think is another Charleston character. The Wally West run of Flash is something that I have a lot of, but I didn't have number 85, and I found it in a dollar bin. So I'm excited to have that. This next book I picked up not because I collect the book, but because I collect something that happens in the book. This is Power of the Atom number 4. Now, DC did this thing where they would put a bonus book, a 16-page bonus book, in the middle of their comics, and it gave new writers and artists a chance to tell a story in 16 pages. There were 13 of these, and the series that I collected and have collected, I've picked up quite a few of them. So of course, because I'm close to having all of something, I'm going to end up trying to find the rest. So for $1.50, I can check one more off the list. All right. Another run I'm putting together is the Star Trek run from DC, and actually I think there's 2 volumes of Star Trek. This one is the one that takes place right after Star Trek 3. Issue 25, didn't have it, glad to find it for $1. And to keep the Shatner train a-rolling, well, what about William Shatner's Tech World? This is issue 10. I am not collecting this, but I'm not collecting it. I mean, for $1, now I've got, I think, issue 1, issue 6 or something, and 10. I don't know how many of this ran. I should probably look into that, but it was $1, and it's Shatner, and I bought it. Superman, The Secret Years, number 1. I have never seen this book before. I didn't know anything about this book. So I looked at it and said, it's $1, it's a number 1. If it's terrible, who cares, it was $1. So I'll check it out. It does have Kurt Swan on it, and he's a known quantity that I enjoy, so hopefully it's pretty good. There was another Superman book. It's a reprint of the Alan Moore Superman Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow story, and I was talking to my friend Eric about this, and he kind of made me realize that I'm not sure I've ever read this before. I had this mixed up with the story of the Black Mercy, which was the plant that was put on Superman that made him imagine his life on Krypton. So that's not this, apparently. This is known as the last Silver Age Superman story. So I'm really looking forward to reading this because 1, it's Alan Moore, 2, it's Silver Age, 3, it's, I can make a list here. I'm excited to read this one. The last 3 books are all from the same vein here. They're the 3 issues in a series of Judge Dredd from Fleetway Comics. Judge Dredd's not something I have read a lot of. I've been able to find a few collections from my library, and I have loved what I've read, but it's not a real easy book for me to track down for some reason. It's not something that I come across. I read one of these issues and it has Steve Dillon art in it. So these are reprints of the British comic, and Judge Dredd appears in 2000 AD. It's serialized and then, gets put together in collections that we can read over here. Because I haven't read much of it, but I've liked what I read, I'm really excited to be able to add these to my collection and to read some more Judge Dredd stories. So that's it. That's everything I got on Free Comic Book Day. I had a blast, and I really think the best part of my whole day was when we got home, my son took a short box that he's been putting together. He made sure his books had new bags and boards. He put them in alphabetical order, and he picked some things out that he had picked up to read that day. And my whole family sat on the couch and we read. So it was just a really nice experience. And I got to see his little nerd wheels clicking, gave me nostalgia for when I was his age and would just have that moment where I would surround myself with my collection of comic books on the floor and, not feel overwhelmed with all these things to read, but just feel excited about all of these stories I was going to experience. So thanks for sticking around to the end of this one. Consider giving the video a thumbs up by clicking the thumb up, because that's what the thumb up means. And consider subscribing if you would like to see more videos from me in the future. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. Through some alignment of the stars, it has several different genres in there. I hope you could hear my belly rumble there.